Matthew Charles Sanders, better known as M. Shadows, was born on July 31st, 1981 in Fountain Valley, California, and grew up in nearby Huntington Beach. Unlike many future metal vocalists, his first instrument wasn't a guitar, it was the piano. He took piano lessons as a child and later credited them with helping him understand melody and song structure. His father introduced him to classic hard rock bands such as Guns N' Roses, while his own interests eventually expanded to Metallica, Pantera, Iron Maiden, and Megadeth. As a teenager, Sanders attended Huntington Beach High School and became involved in Southern California's punk, hardcore, and metal scene. Before Avenged Sevenfold, he played in a punk band called Successful Failure. At the time, he didn't see himself as a singer and only took the role because no one else wanted it. In 1999, at just 18 years old, Sanders formed Avenged Sevenfold with drummer Jimmy the Rev Sullivan, guitarist Zachy Vengeance, and bassist Matt Wendt. The band's name came from the biblical story of Cain and Abel in the book of Genesis. Around the same time, Sanders adopted the stage name M. Shadows. The nickname reflected the darker image he wanted to project, while the shortened first initial gave it a more distinctive sound. Later, he said that it was also just to piss people off. One of the most important moments in the band's history came in 2001 when guitarist Brian Hayner Jr., better known as Sinister Gates, joined the group. His technical ability and songwriting instincts immediately elevated the band's sound. Their relationship eventually became more than friendship. M. Shadows married Valerie De Benedetto, while Sinister Gates married her younger sister Michelle. As a result, the two musicians became brothers-in-law. In 2001, Avenged Sevenfold released their debut album, Sounding the Seventh Trumpet. The record featured a raw metalcore sound heavily influenced by hardcore punk. While it achieved only underground success, it established the band's identity and built a dedicated fan base. 2 years later, Waking the Fallen pushed the band to a new level. The album showcased stronger songwriting, more complex arrangements, and the growing chemistry between Shadows and Gates. Songs such as Unholy Confessions became defining tracks of the early 2000s metalcore movement and remain staples of the band's live shows. This is the album that made me a fan of the band. This stage of his career, M. Shadows relied heavily on screaming vocals. However, he wanted the band to reach a broader audience and began working extensively on his clean singing. The transition was difficult and required him to completely rethink his vocal technique. The payoff came in 2005 with the release of City of Evil. The album abandoned most of the band's metalcore roots and embraced traditional heavy metal, hard rock, and progressive influences. Singles such as Bat Country, Beast and the Harlot, and Seize the Day introduced Avenged Sevenfold to mainstream audiences worldwide. For many fans, this album marked the arrival of the M. Shadows voice they know today. Many fans thought Matthew wore gold grills during the City of Evil era simply because he loved hip-hop culture. In reality, they helped cover damage to his front teeth after a microphone accidentally knocked them out during an early Avenged Sevenfold show. Years later, he even brought the iconic grills back for some live performances in 2023. In 2007, Avenged Sevenfold released their self-titled fourth album. The record debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and featured some of the band's most popular songs, including Afterlife, Almost Easy, and A Little Piece of Heaven. One of the most unusual songs in the band's catalog, combining metal with orchestral arrangements and dark humor. By the end of the decade, Avenged Sevenfold had become one of the biggest names in modern metal. Then, tragedy struck. On December 28, 2009, Jimmy the Rev Sullivan died at the age of 28. The Rev wasn't just the band's drummer, he was a founding member, songwriter, vocalist, and one of M. Shadow's closest friends. His death shocked the music world and left the future of Avenged Sevenfold uncertain. Instead of disbanding, the group chose to finish the material they had been working on with the Rev before his death. To record the drum parts, they recruited Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, one of the Rev's biggest influences. The result was Nightmare, released in 2010. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and became one of the most successful releases in the band's history. Songs such as So Far Away served as emotional tributes to the Rev and remain among the band's most personal works. Following the Nightmare tour, Avenged Sevenfold entered a new era. In 2013, they released Hail to the King, an album inspired by classic metal bands such as Black Sabbath, Metallica, and Guns N' Roses. The title track became one of the band's biggest commercial hits and introduced them to an even wider audience. Throughout this period, M.A. Shadows faced a growing challenge: his voice. Years of aggressive singing and constant touring led to multiple vocal injuries. In 2018, the band was forced to cancel part of a tour after Shadows suffered a vocal cord hemorrhage. Recovery required months of rest and rehabilitation, forcing him to reevaluate his singing technique once again. In 2016, they released The Stage, and in 2023, Life is But a Dream. Let's move a little faster, because this story is more about Matthew than a 7X. Outside of music, M. Shadows became heavily involved in gaming culture. He said that games helped him a lot after Jimmy Sullivan died. He has also been outspoken about the future of the music industry, technology, NFTs, and the changing relationship between artists and fans. When Avenged Sevenfold launched the Deathbats Club NFT project in 2021, they wanted to offer fans real value rather than just digital collectibles. As a result, some of the 10,000 unique Deathbat NFTs come with exclusive real-world perks. One rare trait grants the owner a round of golf with M. Shadows himself, a bonus Matt came up with because he's an avid golfer. Other rare Deathbats unlock unique experiences such as private meet and greets, poker nights, dinners, or drinks with members of the band, giving fans access far beyond a typical concert experience.
I'm robbing the show.
The invisible watermelon meme was born in the Avenged Sevenfold fan community because of M. Shadow's unusual hand gestures while singing. In many live performances and music videos, he would hold his hands apart in front of his chest as if he were carrying a large invisible object. Fans jokingly noticed that it looked exactly like he was holding a giant watermelon. More than 25 years after forming Avenged Sevenfold, M. Shadows remains one of the most recognizable voices in modern metal. From a teenager playing local shows in Huntington Beach to the frontman of a multi-platinum band, his career has been defined by constant evolution. He survived lineup changes, personal loss, vocal injuries, and shifting musical trends while continuing to push both himself and his band forward. And for millions of fans around the world, and especially for me, M. Shadows is one of the defining metal frontmen of his generation.
Very like moving, you know, like it's got to be floating. And then you kind of do like, and then